On your screen, you should see the presentation slides, a video image of the presenter, myself, as well as question and comment dialog boxes within the rightmost docked window. Keep in mind that this presentation will be recorded and uploaded to our website at www.rmpcorp.com/webinars and will be available for your viewing in the future within a week or so. And if you're having any technical issues or difficulties, please feel free to give us a call at our toll-free number, 877-532-0806, and one of our staff members will be on standby to assist you. Here's some contact information. The main project contacts for UWMPs will be Michael Sora, Michael Vigliarolo, and myself. And this slide is just for your reference. From here on out, I'll be referring to urban water management plans as UWMPs for the sake of brevity. Some of the more commonly used terms will be demand management measures, DMMs, Department of Water Resources, DWR, gallons per capita day, GPCD, and Senate bills and Assembly bills, SBs and ABs. The key topics we're going to be going over today will give you a little bit of a background on UWMPs, what they're about, why you need to do them, and then we'll give you a section-by-section outline, and then we'll go into the regulatory changes going into 2015, as well as the 2015 to 16 timeline. And then we'll conclude the presentation with a Q&A session. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Michael Vigliarolo to the stage.
Thank you, Tim. First, I'll start talking about a little bit of background information for urban water management plans. So the Urban Water Management Planning Act requires all water suppliers that provide water to 3,000 or more customers to develop, adopt, and implement an urban water management plan. This helps accomplish water supply planning over a 20-year period in 5-year increments. And the deadline for this current urban water management plan is July 1st, 2016. And to do this, we have the 20 by 2020 plan, which is a water conservation plan, and it's targeted to reduce the statewide capita water use by 20% by 2020. And these targets are separated by hydraulic region, which we'll see on the next few slides. And the regulatory framework for the 20 by 2020 plan was the Water Conservation Bill of 2009, Senate Bill X7-7. On this side, we have a table of the 10 hydraulic regions in California. As you can see, the second column has the current gallons per capita day use of water in California per region. The third column has the 2020 target, and the fourth is the percent reduction. And the last row has the statewide average. And as you can see, these 10 regions are trying to converge and reduce their gallons per capita day to 165 by 2020, which over this 5-year period is a 16% reduction. Here we just have a little visual of the 10 hydraulic regions in California and where they are located. I'm sure you already know which region you are in. So here's the outline for the 8 sections that I will be going over. We'll first start in section 1, plan preparation, move through system description, system demands, system supplies, water supply reliability and water shortage contingency planning, demand management measures, and our optional items are the climate change and the urban water management plan checklist. Although these are optional items, RMP does recommend that these are performed for the urban water management plan. Okay. Section 1, plan preparation. So we have agency coordination with other water suppliers as well as water management agencies. In this section, we want to include each agency and organization contacted or involved in the urban water management plan. For public participation, you need a 60-day notice prior to an urban water management plan public hearing. And after the plan adoption, submittal, and implementation, you want to submit to the California State Library within 30 days of submitting to the DWR. For system description, we will do a service area physical description, which includes physical and political attributes of the area being supplied water. In this section, we will also include maps, tables, or photographs to support the description of the system. For climate data, we want to include general discussion or seasonal variability. The population will be used for water demands and water supply. This is the current population and projected population in 5-year increments up to 20 years, so going from 2015 to 2035. and other demographic factors that can attribute to population, such as employment, customer base, disadvantaged communities, and/or restrictions. Moving on to Section 3, we have system demands. So water demands can be broken down into family, commercial, industrial, government, agricultural, and/or sales to other agencies. This is a detailed description of how the supplier calculates its baseline usage and targets. So for projections for retail users or suppliers, they want to supply water use projection data, and for wholesale suppliers, they want to provide water supply projections to the DWR. Projections can also include system water losses and water use target compliance. And system demands are subject to change, so this is just a quick overview of system demands. Tim will go into this in a little more detail later on. And then for wholesale suppliers, you also may want to do, or you will want to do a water use reduction plan. Section 4, we want to identify system supplies, and this is to quantify the existing and planned sources of water available to the supplier. We want to indicate whether the supplier directly obtains its groundwater. If it does, then this part will be applicable. If not, then we don't include the groundwater portion in the urban water management plan. We want to indicate any planned or future water exchanges, desalination, water opportunities. We also want to describe treatment systems in the supplier's service area, as well as any future water projects to be performed in the area. Section 5 is water supply reliability and water shortage contingency planning. Here we want to identify potential issues that could result in the reduction of the water supply. For water shortage contingency planning, we also want to identify water quality issues that could impact water supplies and discuss how quality issues will be addressed. And the state, so for a drought, we want to do drought planning in an average water year, a single dry water year, and/or multiple dry water years. As part of this drought portion, we also want to include actions that the supplier will perform if the water supplies are reduced by 50% for a single year. And then as part of the water shortage contingency planning, we also want to estimate the minimum water supply available, actions to be taken during a catastrophic event, and mandatory prohibitions and associated penalties for excessive use of water during a catastrophic event. Section 6, demand management measures, or DMMs. In this section, we want to review DMMs from the UWMP guidance and determine the implementation status. These DMMs from the 2010 to the 2015 Urban Water Management Plan guidance booklet has changed, and Tim Lee will go over that in some later slides. But some DMMs from 2010 include water survey programs, residential plumbing retrofit, and system water audits. And for each DMM currently being implemented, we want to provide the steps necessary to implement this measure, the schedule of implementation, and methods used to evaluate the program effectiveness. And what DMMs are, they are mechanisms a water supplier implements to increase water conservation. And now this is extremely important during droughts. And for each DMM not being implemented, we want to provide reasoning for why it isn't being planned for implementation. This can include a cost-benefit analysis, description of funding available or not available, and/or economic and non-economic factors that can attribute to this. Section 7 of the Urban Water Management Plan is an optional section, but we highly suggest that this be included in the Urban Water Management Plan for 2015, as it will create a more complete and full report. This covers potential water supply and demand effects related to climate change, how to adapt to that, how to mitigate from those potential changes from climate change. And Section 8, we have the completed Urban Water Management Plan checklist. This is more of a self-audit. It fills in any gaps. Again, this is optional, but we suggest it. This additional support can be helpful in expediting the DWR's review of your Urban Water Management Plan. And now I'll hand it over to Tim Lee to talk about regulatory changes since 2010.
Thank you, Michael. So now we want to take a look at the proposed regulatory changes to the Water Code and its evolution since 2010. I also want to preface this portion of the presentation by saying that I will not be going into too many specifics, granted that the DWR has not yet released their guidebook. So a total of 2 Senate bills and 1 Assembly bill was approved by Governor Brown on September 19th of 2014. And for those of you who are familiar with the 2010 guidebook layout, the major changes mostly involve the demand management measures section and the system demand sections. These are sections 6 and 3, respectively, of the 2010 guidebook. Some of the other changes are minor. For instance, we have a revised UWMP due date, July 1st, 2016, pushed back from the former due date of December 30th, 2015, with the delayed guidebook release as well. There was also a proposal to include standardized forms as part of the electronic submittal process to streamline the submittal process and mass file with ease on the DWR's end. And an additional optional element was also proposed called energy intensity estimation and calculation. And I'll go into this in more detail in the coming slides. So first I want to talk about Assembly Bill 26.7. This was proposed by Assembly Member Shirley Weber and seeks to amend the DMM portions of the code. Comparatively speaking, much of the verbiage surrounding the DMMs has been altered as indicated in bullets 2 and 3 of this slide. You can see that in the 2010 regulations, they required the supplier to provide a, quote, description of each water DMM that is currently being implemented or scheduled for implementation, unquote. And whereas in the 2015 regulations, it's a bit more strung out and it says the supplier is required to provide a, quote, narrative description that addresses the nature and extent of each water DMM implemented over the past 5 years. It should also describe the water DMMs that the supplier plans to implement to achieve its water use targets, unquote. So the 2015 regulations, as you can see, are much more comprehensive and unambiguous, relatively speaking. And the bill also seeks to segregate the retail water supply requirements and the wholesale water supply requirements as well. And it also effectively reduces the number of DMMs from 14 to 7. And this is shown better in this comparison table here. It shows the discrepancies in the DMM count as well as their descriptions. So not only have they consolidated the elements, but they've also broadened the scope. This is exemplified in the contrast between the 2010 DMM-F, high efficiency washing machine rebate programs. In the 2015 DMM, you can see that in number 3, this might envelop that DMM and many other conservation measures as well. So as I was saying earlier, the bill also seeks to segregate the DMM requirements between urban water retail suppliers and wholesale water suppliers. The retail supplier is required to provide narrative descriptions of all 7 DMMs, whereas the wholesale water supplier is required to provide narrative descriptions of 4 of the 7, as well as 2 supplementary elements. So moving on to Senate Bill 1420, this was proposed by Senator Lois Wolk and seeks to amend sections 10631 and 10644 of the code. This is pretty much the system demand section of the guidebook at this point. And this amendment stemmed from the lack of knowledge regarding water leaks within a water distribution system. And so now they've required the UWMP to quantify and report on distribution system water loss or distribution system real loss. Those terms are interchangeable. And this is to be reported over the most recent 12-month period. Conversely, we have they've authorized water use projections to account for water savings estimated as a result of adopted code standards and ordinances. And this is pretty much to incentivize the adoption of codes and implementation of best practices. Furthermore, this bill requires that the plan be submitted electronically to the DWR and include any standardized forms, tables, or displays, and this will be specified by the DWR in the future as part of their guidebook. Finally, we have Senate Bill 1036, which was proposed by Senator Fran Pavley, and it's an addition of an optional element to the water code. It's interested in how much energy is consumed to perform and support water-related processes, such as extraction and diversion of water, conveyance of it, treatment, distribution of water supplies, and transportation of it to and from storages, and the list goes on. And the calculation methodologies for this will be developed and provided by the DWR as well. So this comparison table here distinguishes the 2010 and 2015 guidebook layouts. In 2010, the guidebook consisted of 8 sections, 6 of which were mandatory. Now we're looking at about 9 or more sections, potentially 9 or more sections, 8 of which are mandatory. And this doesn't necessarily mean we expect more or less content in the 2015 UWMPs as opposed to the 2010 UWMPs, but it is evident that the DWR has separated some of the more bulkier sections out and provided more focus to the sections that are undergoing changes. And here this timeline is representative of the DWR's guidance progress thus far. So back in September of 2014, they held a public listening session that sought out to seek preliminary comments and advance their UWMP initiatives. Since then, they've been drafting the guidebook section by section, and will be doing so until April, at which point they'll begin to release their guidebook, which is due for July 1st of 2015. And of course, a year after that, the final submittals are due. So that concludes this segment of the presentation, and we'll be taking questions at this time. Questions from the audience?
There's no question.
Okay.
We will be performing a short survey after this, so if you guys could just stay on for a few more minutes, we will send that out and you'll be able to answer some questions regarding the webinar. If Tim doesn't have any further comments, we would like to thank you for attending this webinar and stay tuned for any future updates on our Urban Water Management Plan series once the DWR guidance is finally released for the 2015 Urban Water Management Plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.